Hey everybody, welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and if you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, why there isn't an intro, it's because we are currently going back and forth with YouTube regarding the license that I have for the song. I think what happened, and talking to the artist that kind of put everything together for us in Sean LeBrie, this might be an AI situation where because there's no physical human looking at this, they can't see that there's a license. But listen, don't worry about it. Intros and new intro music is being incorporated as we speak. Sean LeBrie, the great Sean LeBrie, is working on that right now. So we should be back to normal in the next day or two. But I do want to welcome everybody here. We already have 50 people. That's pretty crazy because I say this all the time. Nothing is guaranteed on YouTube, right? So we don't know if you make a video that if anyone's even going to bother watching it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow up the screen for you so you get a full screen of me kicking ass and taking names in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 because I'm very proud that this old man still has those skills as we await for C Money to jump in. But I do want to welcome in everybody here and say thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us. We're going to be here for about 70-ish minutes. We got a couple of really big topics to get into, one of which is some Gears of War Trilogy news. Now, this is something I woke up to. We have some additional information on when we should expect this. I got the thumbs up just moments ago from my particular source to, leak. Well, not really leak. I mean, it's kind of been out there. We saw Detective Seeds talking about it. Jez Corden of Windows Central has talked about. As a matter of fact, we got to bring this all the way back, and I don't know if he's listening. Special Nick, this is for you, kind sir. Folks, if you remember, Special Nick broke this story. Gee whiz, man. It's got to be maybe 2 years ago. It could be even longer. And he got such S from the community about how this is not true, and there's no way that they're redoing it. Well, folks, here it is. So, Vindication 101 for Special Nick, our good friend over at Xbox Era, which, of course, they do an amazing job. Jesse Norris, one of the best reviews in the business. John Sicamacano, it's Sicamechanic. I think that's how you say it, Mechanico. Yeah, that's it, Sicamechanico. I always mess it up. So, John, I love you, brother. Can't wait to meet up again. Hopefully, you'll be going to the June event. And maybe, just maybe, we'll even get Jesse Norris to go, which would be dope. And maybe even Special Nick, all the way from Australia, which would be dope. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, there's my partner in crime. There he is. Hold on a sec. Why can't I bring you in? Hold on a sec. What is happening? There he is. C Money. What's going on, dude? Uh-oh. Now he's back out. What is happening here? My computer's acting bonkers. Hey, C, welcome, brother. Nice to see you.
What is up, man? Thank you, brother. Sorry, a little late work.
Oh, that's quite all right. Listen, this is one of those shows. We didn't even have an intro because the intro that I do have that I've been using since 2023 keeps getting flagged for copyright.
Even Are you shitting?
Yeah, it not strikes because we don't want any of those things. Copyright claims. So of course, I disputed it because we do have the license. We have the paperwork, and we've been using the same song in all of our intros since 2023. I just think, again, talking to Sean LeBrie, I was making mention of it, to the chat. It sounds like it might be an AI bot situation and not an actual human making these issues. But how you feeling, dude?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. We had a kind of crazy weekend, so it's kind of good to have that all behind us, and things are good now. One of my daughters was really sick, so
dude, it's always nerve-wracking when the kids get sick, man. It really is.
Yeah, but thank God she's doing better now, so everything is now we're all copacetic. You know what I'm saying?
Excellent. Well, that is excellent to hear. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got to jump right into the topics. First one we're going to open up with, we hadn't had a chance to talk. Now, you and I have many times before sat on this podcast and just talked about how amazing Xbox Game Pass continues to be, regardless of what the ridiculousness of the games community and some of the haters of one of the best services in the business is. we got to talk Tony Hawk 3 and 4 because that has been confirmed. That is dropping in July. But it's not just Tony Hawk 3 and 4, which looks astoundingly good, right? It's the collaboration with Bethesda that I don't think is getting enough conversation. And that is because, well, Doom, or Doom Guy, the Doom Slayer, is writing a chainsaw board, which is freaking crazy. And I
Sick.
think what a lot of people missed out on, see, and I do want to be the one to ring the bell here, is the fact that there are multiple versions that you can buy, one of which is a digital deluxe version that gives you all of the Doom boards, gives you the Revenant character as well as the Doom Slayer himself, a bunch of clothes to to obviously for him to wear. But you can upgrade right now, folks. I did it yesterday for $18 if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and you get the full boat, release. And again,
Nice.
this is where we get into the the renting versus owning, and I'm an owner and I'm better than you ridiculousness. You have a service that gives you, first of all, a ridiculous amount of games, and when there are extras, see, instead of trying to charge you $10 for upgrades that you should get for free because you spent $500 and $700 for a console, they charge you the whatever it is. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 20, and you get a 10% discount because you have Xbox Game Pass. Let's just talk about that for a second, because again, it's one of those conversations that you'll hear people have in front of the water cooler. You'll have them in DMs, you'll have them on Discord, but you don't really hear people talking about it on podcasts. And I think it does get overlooked, the value. But I want to talk Tony Hawk because, dude, we made mention of it last night. The amount of games that we already knew were releasing were ridiculous, but they just keep adding more and more to the conversation. Let's get your thoughts on this, dude.
Yeah, man. No, I'm right there with you. We did have a on our show on Tuesday night, Farrow and I were talking about this a little bit. The fact that number one, that Doom's in there is so dope. I'm not a huge like Tony Hawk dude, but like the fact that Doom is there is sick. So I am going to do that upgrade so that I can get him in there. Like it's more like that for me, what's huge is just showing like the power of the collabs. Like I know he was, I guess he was in there in 2001. I didn't know that Doom was already previously in that game.
You know something, brother?
Uh
If you would have asked me and you would have been like, "Here, bet your life on it," I'm like, I can't do it. Was he a part of it already? I didn't
so
even know that.
supposedly he was. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, but like I said, I'm not a Tony Hawk guy, right? So I would I would have known that. But he was in it back in the day. So this is like almost like a follow-up. But the fact that they're both part of Xbox now, essentially makes that a nothing burger, right? A very easy situation to do. So that's pretty cool. I really like the fact that they're doing the collaboration. But going into Game Pass, obviously, this is the life of an Xbox fan now. You know what I'm saying? Like we wake up and find out we're getting something new. It's a beautiful thing. Um, and it's also a play anywhere game, right? So that's another thing that I think that
Yes.
we
Yes,
didn't
good
really talk
point.
about last time on Tuesday, and yeah, it's a play anywhere. So when you get this game, it's not just I'm getting the Xbox version, you're getting the PC version, you're getting the cloud, rights to it, right? So if you own it, you can stream your game, right? So um this is not just a single purchase and that's it. You're getting that Xbox Play Anywhere, which is huge, man. I love the fact that it seems like it's really becoming, a focus, right? Like this is like a new uh not that Play Anywhere is new, Play Anywhere is not new, but the fact that I feel like now they keep like they're focusing on it. Every time they got a new game coming out, they're talking about um you know that it's Play Anywhere. So I mean that's huge too, man. Talk about ownership for the people who do want to buy their games. You're getting access to it in multiple places, which is great. And I mean I think we can only assume at this point that everything that drops from Xbox proper will be play anywhere completely. So I mean, I think that's dope, man. I think it's sick. And I love the fact that, it's another game, right? Like I would have never bought Tony Hawk in the past because I just didn't have interest. But the fact that it's coming out on Game Pass, the fact that they have that dope ass collab, I do want to just play as Doom for a little while. I'll pay $18 just to play with him for a little while. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to play the game
Yeah,
and go
no.
through it a little bit with him as a character. I think it's sick. So,
And what's interesting is there's no risk, C-Money, right? Like even if you
no,
didn't want to do the upgrade, which by the way, $18 is less than a pack of cigarettes, which I've never smoked in my life. So if you're still smoking, folks, one, stop smoking so you could live longer,
facts.
and stop paying prices like that because that's just ridiculous. You can get the Tony Hawk upgrade. There you go. But all jokes aside, it
Yeah.
is, again, you drop $18 and you're getting the full-on releasey. Like, and again, are you going to put 100 hours into this game? No, you're not a Tony Hawk fan like that.
I mean, unless I become one. Like that's the
Unless
one
you
thing
become
about Game
one.
Pass.
Yes.
See, this is the thing. Like, I don't have like this barrier where I'm like, I don't like that type of game, so I'm done with it. Like, that's not the case. Like, if the game comes to Game Pass, if I don't have like if it doesn't interest me from just the look of it or something like that, like I might not ever click on it to play it. But if I do, I'm very open to whatever I'm playing. So like for instance, we did we reviewed Age of Mythology, right? The new expansion
RPS.
that just
Yeah.
came out actually. So definitely looking into getting back into that. But I'm like, well, I was never a Age dude. You know what I'm saying? Like if I didn't review that game, I probably would have never even clicked on it to go play. Now I love the game.
Now you
Right.
look
So
forward
now
to it. May you look forward to the expansions and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and other games of that ilk, right? So if I see another game that's like that, I am like, okay, I want to check that out because if it's anything like this one, I might like it and get fucking sucked into it too, like I did on Age. Same thing with Ara History Untold. I would have never ever in my life clicked that game, right? Never. But we got it for review. It's like, all right, let's go. I'm down to check it out and loved it. Loved it. Doodle like crazy loved it. Like she played it for so long after the review. It's insane. But it's like it's just really, really good. And again, it kind of opens, it opens you up if you're willing and open-minded, right? You are able to kind of experience stuff that you don't necessarily normally play, and you can kind of fall in love with things, like and that's what I've done. So I keep an open mind. And so Tony Hawk, I'm going to get the Doom upgrade because I do want to play the game as Doom. And I know it's a great game, right? It's just whether or not it'll hook me, right? That's going to be the question. But I'm definitely going to try it, right? I'm definitely going to see. I want to pay for it so I can feel a little more invested. You know what I'm saying? Just feel like I should play it more. And then I'll be able to see for myself if it's something that I'm into or not. But yeah, man, it's a good thing, man. Game Pass is great, and it's just a gift that keeps on giving.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Indeed.
it just is. And I'm actually, I'm really like thankful that Microsoft is not, looking at the amount of games they have and seeing it as an opportunity to pull away from Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? Like instead
Yes, that's a great point. Yeah.
they're doubling down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're giving us more and more. They and then they're still doing the third party joints, right? That are coming in the Game Pass. So it's great stuff, man. I'm excited. It's I'm definitely looking forward to this dropping. It drops like a week before my birthday. So
very nice. I
cool.
think it drops a couple of weeks after the showcase, which of course is expected to be monstrous.
Which
Again,
funny now. So we have a first. So this is our first official post showcase release date.
title. Yeah, I mean, we have an idea that a couple others are coming. Obviously,
Yeah, but no
Call of
release,
Duty, but
no actual
no
date.
definitive release dates. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the
So
first
this is
one. Yeah.
this is the first scheduled, like, all right, July 11th is going down. You know what I'm saying? That's dope.
You know what? You mentioned the word collab. And, obviously, Tony Hawk, people are saying in the chat, and I had no idea because I like Tony Hawk, but I'm not a Tony Hawk, I didn't buy all the games. I've played them
Yep.
all, yes. But I wasn't like, like waiting online at midnight to get Tony Hawk 2 when it came out. Like I appreciate the games. They're phenomenal. But I just haven't been a fan of the series. And I was reintroduced when Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake came out. Excellent. I played it for, I want to say maybe 10, 15 hours, give or take. Again, I'm terrible
that's a
at
good
it.
amount of time.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it. You eventually get okay, but there are some people that just are ridiculous. But I do want to kind of harken on the word collab, because this is something that I think, as an Xbox fan, looking at what they could do, what they should do, and what they have an opportunity to do across now, obviously lines have been blurred, right? Games that are coming out on Xbox are now coming out on PlayStation and on Switch too. They've, for years, since go all the way back to Quantum Break, when that was the first, game that was a dual release for PC and Xbox. And there were a lot. I mean, I didn't care then. And of course, we all had feelings about this cross pollination stuff. We've all come to accept it. If you haven't accepted it, listen, I'm not going to fight you, folks, but it's the business, right? Fine. But I really wish that this collaboration is just the door being kind of pushed open a little bit to see other collabs, right? Like, what am I talking about? I mean, listen, you've heard me say this for years. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. If it doesn't, it's literally a sin to the gaming gods that there's no actual kart racer, right? And this is a bit of an off-the-cuff topic that we're getting into. Me and C didn't even talk about this, but he mentioned the word collaboration, and having a Bethesda character merge with an Activision game. It's happened before, sure, but it's not something you see every day. Especially, you don't really see Doom Guy shredding the freaking rails on a chainsaw board. Like, how often do you see that? You don't really see that, and that's awesome. But I just hope that this is a kind of a polite knock on the door to do more of this. Look, Call of Duty, what's sitting in front of you right now, we had heard, and obviously, the internet detectives had found that there was going to be a Doom skin, there was going to be a Master Chief skin. Supposedly, they were going to have a power armor, is rumored to be, dropped at some event. I would imagine anything Fallout will cross with Call of Duty when the show releases. That makes sense, right? Obviously, you're going to get people hyped for the show. You want to get people to spend money. They're going to get my money. I wouldn't mind running around in a power armor, because obviously you see people that running around in their pajamas. You have people dressed as clowns. You have people dressed as wizards now. It's so the craziness is here now. A lot of Call of Duty purists don't like this. I'm not going to front. I do. Obviously,
the Ninja Turtles. Come on, man.
They got my money.
Tell me the Ninja Turtles in Call of Duty don't make you look at that and say, why the mother F do we not have a damn AAA Ninja Turtle experience? Come on, man.
The 90s Turtles, the 80s, 90s Turtles. Those are my Turtles. These new Turtles, not so much. I tried to watch the animated film, and my nephew Tyler loves it.
They're good towards the kids.
It's not for me. They're just not my Turtles, so to speak, and that's fine. Everyone has their likes and dislikes, but I kind of want to just, of course, welcome in nearly over 350 people watching live, which is pretty dope. Thank you so much for checking out today's show. Again, this is, we started off with the Tony Hawk going into Game Pass, the $18 upgrade. We're kind of in the conversation of, collaborations and what we want to see those look like. I'd love to see a Smash Brothers style fighter with all the characters. If not that, then at least give us Killer Instinct 2, like they did with the first, the first one, the re-release in 2013, where you had, the Arbiter in there, you had Battletoads in there, you had General Ram. So again, hopefully we do get some sort of a reveal, because interestingly enough, the studio that made Killer Instinct Seasons 3 and 4, Iron Galaxy, is the one that actually did the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remakes. So if they did
They just had layoffs too,
Yeah, they did. Now,
which is wild.
it is wild. I just wonder. For me, just as and again, this is one of those conversations, folks, where it goes all over the place. Have fun with us. Walk with us on this one. I don't understand how they haven't been purchased by Microsoft, because they literally, Phil Spencer and Matt Booty said that we want to make a Killer Instinct 2, but we needed the team to do it. Hello, the team is right here. Now, I don't know if they can't buy them because of the whole FTC thing that's still going on, which is ridiculous at this point. But
It would be
I
nothing though.
it would
Like
be
they wouldn't
nothing.
even have to literally. They wouldn't even have to announce it. Like there would be. They would cost so little that it wouldn't matter. Like
It wouldn't
that's
even
not
matter.
a
It would not
FCC
break any
situation
laws
or
or any
FTC situation.
requirements for you to
Yep,
have to be approved. It's
it's
just be
under the
one.
threshold.
Yeah,
So I
we'll
don't know. It
see.
just seems so silly. It
Yeah,
seems so silly. Like you have them working on your DLC. Like why do you want them like I get it. Obviously, it's not their problem. Like they're not here to save the world. Like I know we look at it and it's like, man, they're like having rough times. Basically, they're trying to do their own shit, but then they're surviving off of this contract work. And it's like, if you like what they're doing, right, in the struggle, imagine what they'll do, with some freedom. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
exactly.
what?
No, it's and listen, again, we're just speculating here, folks. We literally have no idea whether or not they are working on Killer Instinct. There was supposedly, like something happening with Killer Instinct 2. That's the rumor. They've been supposedly working on it for a while.
Dude, I don't even
Um,
think it's a rumor. I think on the 10-year anniversary or some crap, like the
they literally said
guy
that they were
came
brought
out
back to continue
and,
Killer
and
Instinct.
said like
Yeah,
there's gonna be 10 more years of it. And we haven't seen any releases for Killer Instinct 1, right? So it has to be them working on something new, right? I don't know, man. I just don't it has to be coming. I don't know. There's a lot of weird questions like that, like a Sobo, right? Like, why not just buy them? You know what I'm saying? They do Flight Simulator for you,
yeah,
get Plague Tale. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just like small things. Like, just do it. They cost nothing. Let's
yeah.
just make it happen. Come on.
I absolutely agree. Listen, Rick L in the chat says, "C Money is my favorite turtle. I mean ninja. I mean, you know what? Never mind."
Oh man,
Shout out
that's funny.
to Rick
Shout out
L
to
for
Rick.
being here as always. Look, we obviously this is one of the smaller topics. We got to get into the Gears of War topic, and it's a two-headed monster because it
Mm.
is two sides of the coin here, and people are going to get in their feels. One of which is going to be my brother from another, of Crispy Bomb. He's been on Twitter all evening talking about his disappointment for what's happening or what's not happening with the Gears of War trilogy or the IE Marcus Phoenix collection. We're going to break all of that down in a second. But before we do, I just want to say a big thank you to Will the Broke Boy Lewis. Drops a very generous $2 super chat, as he does on many of the live streams. He says, Age
Oh,
of
it's Do
Mythology.
You K Now, the broke
Yeah,
boy.
I'm not saying all that. Sorry,
God
Will.
damn it, bro. Listen, you got it. This is our thing. And he's trying to make it a thing everywhere. You got to do it. Do you, K? Now, the broke boy insider. It's like, do you?
It's so
All right,
so
K,
long. He ran out
now.
of spaces. Like that's just crazy. But I love you, Will. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
that's
being
funny.
here, brother. He says Age of Mythology had DLC March 5th. It was the Chinese mythology.
Yeah, the
Uh,
immortal
yeah, so that
sometimes.
just came out.
It's because I mean, it came to PlayStation 5, and nobody really talked about it. It's a niche title. It was never going to be some huge thing. But it did come to PlayStation 5 on the same day, and then they did an expansion. So it was not just the release there, but it was a release and the expansion. So definitely looking forward to checking it out. I mean, I'm still listening. I'm still in the Avowed, like heavy.
Dude,
Like I'm
I'm
in
so
there.
saddened that I beat the game after 4.5 days. That I felt like, you ever have did any, again, off cuff topic, who has this
Mhm.
problem? You play these big open worlds and you almost feel lost after
Yeah,
you're
once
done
you're out of
playing.
it.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that for days I didn't know what to do with myself. So I wanted, going back to Call of Duty, which you're seeing, which, by the way, did you see a lot
So
of those
good.
bloodthirsty pop-ups from me with the sniper? I normally don't
Oh,
play sniper.
dude, Yo, I literally just had the same experience. I've never played sniper, and I got so I got the Ninja Turtles, right? So I created like a loadout for each one with like like weapons, but only the
Nice.
first ones. But a lot of them came with like snipers or marksmen or something like that. So I said, you know what? Let me try one of these. And dude, yo, it is so I understand why they do it, right? Like I don't really mess with the scope. Like you were using the scope like heavy and you were crushing it. I was using the scope but like a almost like a mid scope, so almost like a regular gun, but just as a sniper. And if you just like, go around corners, just a little slowly, and yo, people just running by, bam, you just hit them, they fly. Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
good.
I just love this game. What can I say? I'm about
It's
to
so good.
prestige 8 by the end of the
Yeah, I
day,
saw.
which is
I
which is
saw.
bonkers. I've
That's
never I do this.
crazy.
It just is what it is. But look, Will, thank you so much for the super chat. As always, we super appreciate the generosity. See, now look, we were talking in the background. Sent you some information that was sent to me, right?
Mhm.
It's one of 4 sources that I have that are trustworthy that I actually know personally. So I have in front of me what I have officially been given the thumbs up and okay to discuss publicly. Now, there's been a lot of talk in the last couple of days with Gears of War specifically. The Gears of War trilogy is real. Anyone that had all those nasty things to say about me have gone into witness protection programs because they look like complete boobs. I would never throw something out there unless I was confident that the person or persons giving me this information are A, trustworthy, and B, I'm not going to get egg on my face. Now, granted, you get information, you put it out there, and sometimes that information is wrong. So what do? See, you get out there like men, and you be like, "Hey, folks, Mr. Boomstick here. I got it wrong." Okay, I mean that happens, right? You don't try and make it into something. You don't twist and turn. You don't move goalposts. If you get it wrong, well, you just admit that you got it wrong. That's what a real man does. Well, this is the internet, so there are not lot of real men there, but you know who I'm talking about.
Mm,
But
nice dig. Like that.
right, well, I mean, listen, it is what it is. People, my pop used to say all the time, son, if when something would happen that I did, like you made your bed, son, now you got to lie in it, right? That's the old way. That's just the way it is. But got some information on the Gears of War trilogy that not only is confirmed, I have a release window that again, folks, I would not be speaking about this if I wasn't literally given the thumbs up moments before the show went live. And this is what my source had to tell me. Uh, Gears, the Gears Collection Original Trilogy. Now, I'm not sure if that's the official name. I hope that it isn't. I would imagine the Gears of War trilogy or the Gears of War collection or the Marcus Phoenix collection, any of those titles would be
It's gonna be
rad.
Gears because as much as we know Marcus Phoenix, he's not Master Chief. Like Master Chief, people just know Master Chief. Marcus Phoenix, people know
It's
him, but
right, but they
you
don't
still
know
need
him
like
like
that
that.
Gears.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
probably gonna. It's more than likely for exactly what you're talking, so there's no confusion. Who the hell is Marcus Phoenix? Like we know who he is. Some people got tattoos of that dude, as they should. But it's
plus the
probably going to
last
be
what? How many 2 games? He was just a side character. Like you didn't
yeah,
play as him.
for
So
for for Gears 4 and 5. I mean, he played more of a role for 5 than he did for 4, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's
yeah,
probably going to be called the Gears of War collection or the Gears of War trilogy collection.
yeah.
Either or. But
Trilogy
in
feels right.
trilogy seems right. Well, a couple of thoughts and again, we're going to have to break this down in 2 different sections because one is heavy, and that is regarding the multiplayer. There isn't any. That I have that absolutely confirmed. There is no multiplayer PvP in this remake trilogy using the Unreal Engine 5.3. It is not. They did now. Why? That's the question we will be tackling second half. But I do want to continue on what the information I do have in front of me. and it says the Gears of War original trilogy only. That's what you're getting. It's the original trilogy. It's not Judgment. It's not. You're getting the trilogy that was out. It was redone in Unreal Engine 5 from the ground up. That's what you're getting. It's going to have Gears 1, Gears 2, Gears 3. It is only going to have multiplayer co-op, which is a standard fare for Gears of War. It's single player only or co-op, obviously. The launch window or the release window, and this is that has not been out there, is confirmed through my source to be through either June through September, but they are currently targeting an August release of the year. It is releasing on the Xbox Series consoles, PC, PS5, and it is going to be PS5 Pro enhanced. They just got the word last night. They passed it on to me. I asked if I could break the story. Well, here we are. So yes, not only C-Money does this trilogy exist, it is one of the, it's going to look amazing, because just imagine what Avowed looks like. Just imagine what Hellblade 2 looked like with help from the Coalition. This is the Coalition. They have crafted Gears 1, 2, and 3 from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 5.3. It is going to melt your eyeballs. And if
Do we
people
know if it's dumb?
I mean, that's the
Because
information I have. I don't know if it was People
fair,
Can Fly. I don't know if it was
yeah, to be
another
fair, there's been
studio.
other, like, Forza is not done by Playground for PlayStation. I mean, that's ported by Panic
Yeah.
Button. That being said, this is going everywhere as a new release, so it probably is. I would assume that they're using this, like they would have used the trilogy as their like their test bed for what they're doing with 6. What they're doing
What has been
with
explained
next
to
one.
me on why this collection was done was exactly what you just said. It was them to hone the skills of
Mhm.
Unreal Engine 5, and they are currently, from what I understand, and what is again been explained to me, is that it is going to be the Unreal Engine 5.3 version. Take that for
Yeah.
what it's worth. It is real. The collection is happening. It's supposedly going to be announced at the June showcase, where I'm going to be. And I'm very excited to see what this thing is going to look like. But so before we move on to the multiplayer not being there, I'm going to say this. As a selfish MF, I don't care. Now, don't get pissed off at me for being honest. I don't play multiplayer Gears. If you do, you have every right to be upset, as you should be. You're a consumer. You wanted new versions of it. I think what they are waiting for, and this is just me speculating, that the multiplayer that everyone knows, wants, and loves is going to return in a massive way for Gears of War E-Day. And that is what they're waiting for. This Gears 1, 2, and 3 trilogy collection that we are going to apparently be playing across multiple platforms now in August was to hone their skills with Unreal Engine 5, because there is a bit of a learning curve, but let's call a spade a spade. No one does it better than the Coalition. Let's get your
Yeah.
thoughts on it releasing this year and the fact that it's actually real.
So yeah, so we definitely know it's real, because outside of just the original rumors and the original person who did these rumors, like Jez has already spoke on it as well, right? So Jez is kind of um confirmed its existence as well. So it's definitely real. Um, it's just a matter of when it's going to drop. And, I think you said, was it like between
It's
June
happening
and September?
between July and September, but they are targeting August, according to
Okay.
what my source said.
Which is a great time to release that game. I think that's
I
that's
agree.
perfect. Which is again another game that we didn't know about, rumored but didn't know about 100%. That's coming this year in the Game Pass, which is phenomenal. I think the time makes sense, for sure. And if we're getting Gears E-Day, it was rumored to come out freaking this year, which would have been real crazy.
Yeah, that apparently that's
Um,
been pushed to 2026,
yeah, it was
and
going
that
to be
makes sense.
2026.
Releasing 2 Gears in one year, it just seems a little bit
It's not
much.
necessary. It's not
Yeah.
necessary. But I think as far as like the multiplayer is concerned, like I do play in the beginning of any Gears game release, I do play multiplayer. I really enjoy it. It's only once time goes by and all the casual people stop playing and you're just left with the wall bangers, the people
Yep.
who just constantly are literally bouncing around nonstop. They don't even know, like you don't even know that these characters have walking animations. Um, like that's when I check out. So I normally do play when a new one comes out. That being said, it's pretty easy, I think, to understand the situation that's happening here. Um, they're they use this as a test bed to make their new game, right? It's not like Master Chief Collection, which was not a test bed, to their new stuff. It was a, hey, we want to, have this legacy, you know, uh title out there with all of our great games and their multiplayers because they're all so different and unique and blah blah blah, and like we want to put that out there and just have it live. And it's basically been a live service game until they, like, I think they stopped, not, a couple years ago or last year or something. um so they've been running it, right? If they were to release a multiplayer mode for this collection, people would assume that they're going to upkeep it. It's then going to be put up as a part of the review process of, hey, look, they didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? They didn't go ahead and do a battle pass. There's no reason to play the multiplayer after a few hours. Like they'll come up with some stupid ass reason to give it problems for no reason, right? Like I understand that the people who are like super into Gears are like, damn it, I wish I could go back and play these games. I mean, listen, there a lot of them are still there, bro. Like you could still go and play these multiplayer games. They're not gone. They didn't shut them down for a lot of them. Like you can go back and play. They're all available on Series X, right? So um you could do it. And then, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are used to just the new multiplayer modes for Gears 5 and 4, right? So, it's kind of like a, why would I go through that, situation, right? Why would I go through the issue of releasing a mode that people are just going to be pissed about? We're not here. Like that's all going to require balancing and doing all that crap again. And how much do you keep it old? How much do you add any of the new stuff that you wanted? It's just too much. I get it. Just bring the stories, right? Because E-Day is happening. It's a prequel to the original trilogy. Bring back the trilogy. God, I honestly, the trilogy is so good, right? Like story wise, like it's amazing. So just being able to come back, have it in its, beautiful Unreal 5.3, which is essentially with the same engine that Avowed launched on, the 5.3 version.
Yep.
And it's a stunner. And that wasn't Coalition, right? Coalition are the goats at this. So yeah, man, I think it's great. I think that the fact that there's no multiplayer just makes sense to me. I don't hold it against them, and I would play the multiplayer, especially if it's going to like PlayStation and stuff. It's a cross play. Maybe that's the other thing too. Now you have to start figuring out cross play for all of these places that you're dropping it. Just I get it, but it would be nice to slap up some ponies for sure, uh, in Gears for a little while
You
until
know
they
what's
also learn how to
interesting?
do it and
Yeah, I
become
mean,
wall
you're not
bouncers.
wrong. Friend of the show, D Block in the chat, actually made a
D
fan
block.
freaking tastic point, and I didn't even consider this, and he actually may be onto something. He said maybe the Gears of War collection trilogy comes with the Gears E-Day beta, multiplayer beta. That actually makes sense. You register, obviously, you're getting it on Xbox, and whether you get it through Game Pass or you get it, you buy it, you actually outright and buy it. you get automatically registered for the beta for the Gears E-Day multiplayer. That actually makes a ton of freaking sense.
I mean, it's
And
definitely possible. It's
yeah,
definitely possible. I don't know if they would want to. I don't know if they would want to overshadow the trilogy
well, they
with
may just make an announcement of it.
either.
That, hey, play here, and you'll be registered for the beta. It goes live in next year or the year, like the end of the year. I mean, they can make mention of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I think that E-Day is if it got pushed back from this year because of the thing and they're going to do an open beta, um I think that would make a lot of sense, to kind of announce it at the same time. Obviously we know that it's in Game Pass, so i don't know I don't know how that would work. I know if you bought it, I mean, obviously on all the other places that is going to drop the trilogy, it's not going to be there. But then, see, then that's also assuming that E-Day is going to drop on the other platforms at the same time as well, right?
Yeah,
Which
right.
which that I'm not quite sure of yet. I mean, if it is great, I don't know. They haven't announced anything like that yet. But that would
Well,
only
what we
work
will
if
find
that's
out
the
this
case.
June, what we will find out this June, see money, is thanks to Phil Spencer's interview that he had a couple of weeks ago. He basically let the cat out of the bag that at the June showcase or any showcase moving forward, games that are going to be on other platforms at the end of an Xbox trailer are going to have those logos letting the player base, meaning that you'll have actual PlayStation gamers tuning into the Xbox showcase so they could watch to see what games announced there would eventually be coming to their platform of choice. Because again, I know there's a lot of these console war waters are deep, but both sides of the coin have a significant amount of normies. People that don't that don't read articles every day, that are not listening to 13 podcasts a week, that are just, hey, they buy one or two games a year. They just found out about Xbox Game Pass. They know that because money is tight for everyone right now, and because of the way the world is, they get their more bang for their buck. Maybe that's the way that they go. But needless to say, the majority of gamers, and this just literally is not something that is new information. Like, this has been out there. Matt Piscatella literally just broke down in an interview with Greg Miller about how much money is spent by the hardcore versus the normies. How many people actually buy new games per year? It's in the single digits, folks. We got almost 500 people here. We're buying 10 games, 15 games, 20 games, 30 games a year, even though we have Xbox Game Pass and EA Play and Ubisoft Plus. I have all of those things, right? And some people have even more than that. So, look, I do want to get into the no multiplayer thing because I think it's a conversation. And I think people, if you're upset about it, you have every right. But I think there's reasons for it. But see, money, before we get there, I do got to catch up on super chats. Now, we have one here. Friend of the show, Michael Larson, drops a very generous $5 super chat. Michael goes on to say, what a year for gamers. Hey, wasn't there a rumor in the last couple of years for a Fable collection? I wonder if it could be a thing. Great show, guys. You know something, Michael? You made
Oh
mention of
man,
that. I remember that. We actually
I do.
talked about that.
I do remember that.
I mean, that would be kind of dope.
Mm,
I'm not going to front. Could you imagine an
fucking
Unreal
A, man.
Engine? We say Unreal Engine, but could you imagine if they remade it using the engine from Forza, the Forza Tech engine? They remade.
Like, was that why it took so long? Because they were practicing on remaking the other
Good.
ones?
I'll put it to this way: it's a good speculation topic to come back to at some point because, listen, maybe 3 wasn't everyone's bag, right? I get it.
3
3
was
wasn't
dope.
my favorite.
I like dope. I
And
like
that's
it.
and see
Become
there
the
you go.
king, and then you gotta
Yes.
rule?
Yeah.
Come on, man, that's fire. Every
And
game ends when you become the king. You know what I'm saying? I did it. I became the king,
yeah,
and it's all glorious. But then what happens after? Nobody knows. Well,
nobody knows.
in
Now you
Fable
do.
3, you have to know. Damn, I would love for it. Honestly, I can't replay old games, right? Like I can't.
They're
I
tough to go
tried.
back to. Even your
I just
favorite
can't.
games
Even
are
if I
tough to
love
get
them,
back
even
to.
if I love them,
Yeah.
I can't. I need it to be. I need it to be like remade or something. I need it to look much better. So I would love for them to do the first three, just remade, bring them into today's world. You know, get the movement right, get everything like just update everything. Man, that would be something. That would be something I would
Yeah.
love to jump back in because they were great. I love the stories of them. The fact of everything you can do in them were, oh man, it was so crazy. It was so crazy. Such a good game.
Indeed.
Such a good trilogy. We'll love
Yeah.
to see
Oh,
it.
listen. My favorite is for me. It's 2, 1, 3. Right. That's you. I love 2. 2 was a freaking amazing. 1 was fantastic.
Two was fantastic. Two was with the dog.
Yes. Loved it.
Yes.
Shout out to Michael Larson, who's become a channel member. Michael, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. We super
Ooh, good
appreciate that
job, man.
here. Shout out to Detective Seeds in the chat. He drops a very generous $10 super chat. Detective Seeds, salute to you, kind sir. Folks, he was right. I know that he got a lot of shit on Twitter, but regarding the Gears of War trilogy, he was right. But those people that were doubting him are probably again in witness protection. He drops a very generous $10 super chat. And first of all, before I even get to that, I hope that you're feeling better. Folks, you didn't know he had a car wreck where he broke 4 ribs. Hopefully you are feeling better, kind sir. He says this after dropping a very generous $10 super chat. We don't always agree, and that's true, but we can be friends, sir. He says, but I appreciate your hard work on the coverage and dedication to gaming. Brother, that's very kind of you to say, and that goes right back to you as well. I know you're not doing as much content because, you had some personal things in your life that you just, but real life gets in the way all the time. But we love the work that you do, brother, and we like that you continue to, be on social media talking about this stuff because, again, you have connections. I have connections. Are they always right? No. Do they get it wrong sometimes? Sure, it does happen. But you know what? We get out there and we do things that a lot of people wouldn't do, and that's put themselves out there. And sometimes, you got to come back and be like, yeah, folks, I got it wrong. My source told me this and it was wrong. It's okay to be wrong, folks. It is. Detective C, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for the generosity and thank you for the very kind words. Appreciate you being here. Ultron Quake, who's been a channel member for nearly 2 years. Thank you, brother. Super appreciate that the support. He says, my guess is that they don't want a repeat Master Chief Collection launch disaster. That's very interesting, brother. I literally, Kay Asante and I were talking about this morning, and that's exactly what Kay Asante said. Again, could they prepare for it? Because the trilogy is smaller in scope and scale than the Master Chief Collection that had all those games and all those multiplayer maps. But you actually might be onto something. And do you, K now, the broke boy Lewis? I said it. There you go. I said it.
Go.
I got it.
Now you
wrong.
just gotta say with the intent, right? So it's do you K now the broke boy insider.
Let me just pause. Hold on a sec. Let me check the throat. Do you K now the broke boy Lewis? Is that better? Is it? There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
you go.
So I'm getting there. I'm warming up to it. Will, thank you so much for the additional, very generous $5 super chat. He says, yeah, no multiplayer for collection. Xbox doesn't want to scare away PlayStation customers by getting their ass kicked by Xbox and PC players online before E-Day releases. I've heard that as well. The
only multiplayer players over there are on Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And they're not going to stop playing to go play Gears of War. You're just going to get a bunch of normal people, and they're going to be like, what is happening here? I hate this. And they're going to leave. Because all the hardcore Xbox dudes are going to go over there and start wall bouncing immediately. You know what I'm saying? And these places be like, what is happening to me? Shit, I don't even want to play, Gears of War when they start wall bouncing like that, bro. So
I suck at it. I'd be the first one to tell I am absolutely terrible, but that's because I didn't put in, and that's a me thing. That's definitely a me problem. I suck at Gears of War, not because I don't have the skills. I mean, you're seeing the skills on display right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a you thing, bro. It's the game and the way that you have to play it in order
much
to
different
with these dudes. It's like like I'm telling you, I don't know how, but they literally just bounce and bounce and bounce. And it's like, it's cool that to do that, right? So great skill, but also kind of whack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why not run the map, right? Let's use the cover. Let's do the fun stuff that they built. That they didn't intentionally create the wall bounce as a thing. You know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be for cover, and they just made it easy to go from one cover to the next. But goddamn, that's all they do. You know, you can see I'm salty about it.
No.
Because I really like it.
Listen.
I really enjoy the multiplayer. Like I said, in the beginning of every time they drop a new game, I'm there, loving it. It's basically the same way I play Halo or Call of Duty, right? Like I'm in it, obsessed, constantly going back to it. But then comes a time where all those people that were playing stop playing, and the other ones arise. And those are the only ones you ever get in your matchmaking.
Yep.
And then it's just not fun. It's not that I can't sit there and do it. I don't want to play a game like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I mean,
don't
first of all,
want
we're pressed for time in real life, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. And look, the reason why I stepped away from Gears is early Gears on. If you guys and gals remember, it was Camp City with the sniper. And there was one particular match where every time I came out of the door, they kept spawning me in the same spot. I got freaking headshot, and it happened like 10 times in a row. I'm like, you know what? This just isn't for me. I'm going back to Halo, or I'm going back to whatever. So I again, gearheads, I appreciate that, you don't have that you have your feelings about this. So this is the question I want to ask the chat. This is a question I want to forward on to you, C Money. We know for a fact now from multiple places, including Jez Corden of Windows Central, Detective Seeds in the chat, myself, along with my connections, that there is no multiplayer. It's not happening. It is the single player only. It is Gears 1, 2, and 3, redone in Unreal Engine 5.3. It is going to look and run great. I originally had heard that there was going to be some cutting room floor footage added. That is apparently not happening. What you are getting is Gears 1, 2, and 3. You are literally getting the game in gorgeous Unreal Engine 5.3. That's enough for me. I play through the trilogy on a regular basis. Now I get an opportunity to go with my brother Neo Mental and play 1 through 3, start to finish, in on our big booming TVs, with headphones and doing co-op. That's how I'm going to play that. I cannot wait for it. I'm very excited for some of my most memorable online time with my brother is during Gears, and we're going to get right back to it. The question that I have for the chat, the question I have for you, C Money, is multiplayer not being there. Should this be a still play or a pass for diehard Gears fans?
Easy play.
Yeah.
Easy play.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're, listen, obviously, if you're somebody who is like, if you treat Gears like Call of Duty, where some people, they just don't even look at the single player, like they got their first Gears game, they clicked multiplayer and they never looked back. Clearly, this is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, it's not for you. Clearly, this is for the people who enjoyed the story of Gears. And again, the E-Day is going to be a prequel to these games, and it's not going to make sense for people who are born after the release of the Gears trilogy, which is old as dirt now compared to the age of some of these kids out here. And it's like you have no connection with those characters to be able to do. Like, if you only know Gears from 4 and 5, you don't have a deep connection with Marcus. You don't know Dom like that. You don't know his struggle and what happened. That was like one of the first moments that I freaking like cried watching a damn Dude Bro game. You know what I'm saying? Like, who expected that shit? Nobody knew that was coming. God damn. Like, there's just it was so impactful. So yeah, it makes sense. Bring it to today. Show these new people who don't know what Gears is, that show them the games that everyone fell in love with, right?
Yep.
Like, let's be clear. I don't know how many people, and I love 4 and 5, okay? But I don't know how many hardcore Gears fans there are that were born off of Gears 4 and 5. I don't know. I don't think that there's a ton of new fans that are like hardcore that came from 4 and 5. I think most of the hardcore fans from Gears probably stem from the original trilogy, right? So show them, what it was. Show them that game. Show them why people loved Gears outside of the multiplayer. And bring it up to today's standard, man. It's great, smart, love it. I don't think you should miss it unless, again, you just never gave a crap about Gears single player. If you're just a multiplayer dude, then clearly it ain't for you, Chief. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, listen. Looking at the chat here, this is awesome. Because it is very much split. A lot of people saying that it's an L. A lot of people saying they're going to pass. A lot of people saying that they wanted Horde. Horde mode is dope. No doubt about it. I just think that when you consider that this is a game, look, I'm going to say something, okay? And this is selfish, Boom. I apologize to the gearheads who wanted it. I only played it for single player for a multitude of reasons because I loved the brotherhood story that was being told, right? The kinship that they have, these four men have with each other, that takes you through all of the hardships as what war does to people. And I know I'm getting super deep here. It's just a game, but they did it so well that you cared. Like you said it, Simone. I'm not going to front. No spoilers, because there's a lot of new people here. When a certain character's family thing happens, bro.
Ooh, if you're playing the story,
put it this way, if you're married,
invested, oh man,
it's pinnacle storytelling, and it's not just that moment. It's a moment in 3 that's giving me goosebumps to talk. And again, no spoilers here, folks. I know the game is old as hell. Please, chat, be respectful. Don't spoil what we're talking about, because there's going to be some new people that haven't played this. It is great, man. So we're getting that. And I'll say this. This is a trilogy that we should not be getting, right? The original game came out in 2007. It did its trilogy. It finished the story, ended in a great way. It could have never had another sequel, but it did. And I enjoyed 4. Hold on a second. I don't love it. I enjoyed 4. I loved 5. And there's another massive decision on that one as well that is goosebump inducing. But getting back to the trilogy, I'm okay with no multiplayer.
It's actually 2006, Boom. Gears 1.
Why did I say 7? Yeah, okay.
No, it was November 7th, 2006.
That's what.
I just wanted to check, because when you said it, I was like, I think it's 2006. Yeah, because I remember it was the year after the console came out.
Yeah, so that's the year that the incredible run of games on Xbox 360. But
yeah, 2007 was that epic.
Yeah, the epic year. Yeah. Yep. But look, again, being selfish, and I know that's what I'm being right now. I'm okay with no multiplayer. I would not have put any time into it, but if you would have, chat, I understand, and you have every right to be upset. There was I don't know if it's a super chat or somebody made mention of it. Hold on just a second.
I mean, they're also making the next game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a bonus.
You see, so, like, and that's what they were referring to. See, wow. Yeah, they said that if because E-Day is so close, and E-Day is gonna have multiplayer, does it really make sense for multiplayer to show up in a trilogy that by all rights shouldn't exist? And I think that's an easy answer. But again, I don't play multiplayer.
Yeah, they don't want to balance that shit. They don't want to do any of that. They're focused on their next game. Like, that's coming out soon. So why would they waste time balancing these old ass maps and this old, game? And it's just, I don't see it, man. Mistake. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure the old games are still live, right?
Yeah, you can play multiplayer right now. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the original trilogy multiplayer that's online is still online. No, unless they shut it off, and I wasn't.
No, multiplayer is still available. You can still play multiplayer.
Yeah, so if it's still there, like, there's nothing to cry about. It's the same game. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna just look pretty, but multiplayer is not about the graphics anyway, right? Like, multiplayer is just about the feeling and all that shit. So why would they start messing around and having to just do that? And then what happens to the old servers? So now they're going to what, split those people? Then how they're going to justify keeping the original Trilogy servers up as they are right now? Right? Like,
I mean, it's great points all across. Yeah.
so it's just going to be like, oh man, here's all right, everybody who's playing the old game on the old servers, let's go ahead and move you over to this one. And then what, you're going to shut down the other one? And then what's going to happen to the people who don't buy the new game? They're going to say, well, I didn't buy the new game, I still want to play multiplayer on my game that I've already owned. And then now you have a whole nother set of issues. Like, you just don't make sense. It don't make sense. Like Halo, remember, those games were lost to time. This is the way to bring everything forward.
Especially
like, and I'm talking about like Halo 2 and Halo 1, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't play online, so it just made sense to make the Master Chief Collection and bring all those maps and all those games forward. But Gears was in the 360 generation. It's been online since day one, right?
Yep.
So, you know, that, and because Microsoft is not PlayStation, those servers are still live where you can still go and play those games, right? Like, again, like, look, your decision to buy or not buy, that's always your choice, whether there was multiplayer or not, right? Like, if you wanted to get it, great. If you didn't, great. You know, it don't matter. But should Microsoft get like shit for this, or should Coalition get shit for this? Nah, man. Nah, you gotta, it has to make sense. And the servers are there. You can play those games right now. Why compromise that for, you know, the people who don't want to change and just want to play their old game? You know what I'm saying? Like, people play Counter-Strike Go for like 48 years now without any changes or upgrades to it. And people just want to play the game that they love and they're comfortable playing. And, you know, Gears 1, 2, and 3 are already available, man. That's all.
I mean, and then it's great points all around. Again, folks, this is not just, you know, us poo-pooing anyone that wanted multiplayer. I absolutely get that, but I think that what's been said makes a whole mess of sense. You know, you have Gears of War E-Day not releasing in 2 or 3 years. It is releasing next year in 2026. Now, when is that? It could be first quarter. It could be second quarter of the year, right? It could be holiday of 25. I mean, of 26, right? Could it be around the actual 20th anniversary, the official 20th anniversary of Gears? That would be friggin' cool. Wait, could it be an actual launch game for the rumored new console, which is still teetering on 26 or 27, right? We don't know which one. We know we talked about this on Tuesday's show. Modern Warfare 4 currently being developed for PS5, PS5 Pro, Xbox Series X and S, no last gen. But it is currently being developed for the next Xbox as well.
Dude, it has to be next year.
Yeah,
It has
that's
to
what I'm
be
thinking.
next year.
Yeah.
It would be the biggest. It would be the, and listen, like, Microsoft loves special occasions. Okay.
Yeah.
Microsoft, like, Phil was really distraught that he couldn't launch Xbox and Halo together.
Yep.
Because it would have been the first time since the original that it happened. And obviously they launched it the year before the 20-year anniversary, right? But they ended up being able to launch Halo on the 20-year anniversary. Was a big deal for them. This upcoming year gives them everything that they want. You launch the remake of Halo in 2026 alongside the new box that's checking that off. Boom. First time a Halo's been released with the console since the original, and it's the original game remade.
In Unreal Engine 5, by the way.
In Unreal Engine 5. Redone. Beautiful. Done.
Yeah.
Then you have Xbox's 25-year anniversary. Then you have Halo's 25-year anniversary.
Yep.
And then you drop Gears on its 20th year anniversary. Come on, man. There's no way that they'll be stupid as all hell to just not release you have to release it next year. You have to figure it out, make it happen. The reason why I feel comfortable aside from all the rumors that have happened, and now when you get rumors like, game specific rumors that line up with the console coming out next year, right? Which is the 2026 Call of Duty is being made for the next gen console. They're not doing that for a console that's coming out at the end of 2027. You know what I'm saying? They're doing that for the console coming out at the end of 2026. So that all kind of co-signs it. Plus, they're being so much more vocal about all this stuff now, right? Like the fact that Sarah Bond has said it was the biggest leap, right? The only way you know it's the biggest leap is because the biggest leap has been accomplished, right? They did everything. It's going to be the biggest leap in our minds. The technology that we're going to possibly maybe come up with will be no. You say that when it's already done, right? You know that this is the fact. This is happening. You can't say that, or they wouldn't say that, and then have it be like, well, actually, we couldn't figure that thing out that we were claiming. So it's just gonna be like a minor change, right? No, that's already done, right? So now it's just, continuing it out, making sure that you have your pipeline ready for manufacturing, and then studios, right? The devs need to have it. The fact that Call of Duty has, like, the fact that Activision has the next box, right? The what do they call them?
With the handheld
Dev kit, the dev kit.
with dev kit, yeah.
The fact that they have, a dev kit, or at least a target. I mean, that shows that it's already happening, right? The new system specs are already in the hands of internal teams, which is what you're going to want, right? Because we know the internal teams are going to be the ones that are really going to push this, right? I don't think it's just going to be a little bump in performance like third party are going to do, right? Third party are going to use it as a handicap where it's like, okay, well, now we could do 120 FPS on, like, we're going to get so many. It's going to be crazy. We're going to get so many 120 FPS games on the new console, because people are just going to take the games that they're making for the series and the PlayStation 5 and then just let that power from the new console take it up, right? And that's what he's going to do. Same way, like in the beginning, we had a bunch of 120 FPS games for Series X and Series S, right? Because it was like, oh yeah, we're making these games for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and we'll just use that extra power to bump the frame rate and the resolution, right? So, first party is the one that's going to push this thing, and the fact that it's already there, yeah, it just makes too much sense for next year. Like, way too much sense.
Yeah. Again, the writing's on the wall. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Again, this is a shorter show today simply because, the topics are starting to kind of slow down. We will be talking about some things tomorrow. I'm writing that show as we speak, for Breakfast at Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This was a great conversation. But I do want to catch up on some super chats. Lieutenant Hulk in the chat. Salute to you, kind sir. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Come on, Boom. Once you learn the wall bounce, you'd be a god." LOL. You know what? I don't even know how to do that. So yeah, it'd take me a minute. I would, but again,
dude, I tried, man. I tried. It takes a lot of skill. Like, I'm not hating on the people that can do it. It's not like a cheat code.
I've seen it done. It's been done to me.
Yeah, it takes a lot of skill.
Yeah,
but it's like, once you are involved in those matches, then if you are not at that skill level, there's no reason for you to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't doing nothing but being a target for these people to easily destroy you, right? So, like, for me, it just, once that becomes the norm of every match, that's where I check out. I'm like, all right, I'm outsies.
Well, I mean, listen, we all been traumatized by Gears of War in one way or another, and mine was getting shot in the head 10 times in a row, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. But listen, thanks, Lieutenant Hulk, appreciate you being here. Our generous brother from Hawaii, you know him very well, C Money. Nino Vistic has gifted one Double Barrel Gaming membership, as he's done every show that we do. That's very kind of you. The consistent generosity, brother. We truly appreciate it. Now let me get this right. Hold on. Myself together here. Do you now? The broke boy, the broke boy Lewis drops at his gifted one
insider.
Insider. It's too long of a whole sentence for someone's name. Will, you're killing me. But you know what it is? I know why he's doing it. He's doing it out of spite and revenge. And you know why that is? Because every time he has a point, it is stolen by Corkenstein, by Crispy Bomb, by Fuzzy Belvedere, or myself. We steal all his stuff. So this is his revenge. I get it.
Yeah,
brother.
yeah, I see it. You guys read the chat, see what he wrote, and then just say it as if you just thought of it.
Oh my goodness, the accusations. I'm
We
clutching
see
my
it.
pearls right now. This is outrageous. I appreciate the generosity, Will, as always. Ultraman, what's up, brother? Nice to see you here.
Ultra, what's up, player?
He drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, "What's up, Boom and C Money? He just beat Avowed. Aren't you sad?
Oh, hell yeah.
Aren't you just sad? Because I was sad after beating it. If it would have had a new game plus, I would have jumped right back into it. Because what I don't want to do, I want to play it on the hardest level and beat it that way. But I'm not trying to do that with wands that do 20 damage. I want, what I have. Just give me new game plus. And hopefully we do get that soon, because that game is just so stunning to look at. And honestly, I play everything like a goody two shoes. I'm going to have to, because there's achievements you got that I don't have if you're an asshole. And I want to get those asshole achievements because I want to try and get 1,000 out of 1,000. You got to lie, you got to cheat, you got to steal. I want to do all of that.
That's so hard. That's so hard.
And it's hard for me because I am always going to be a Jedi, never the dark side, no matter what is offered. And I want these achievements, so I'm going to have to be a jerk. And I hate it, but I'm going to have to do it just for the freaking achievements. But congratulations on beating it.
Can you imagine what they're going to say to you when you talk to them like that? They're going to be so upset and so hurt.
Especially like Kai. Like he like that guy. That guy takes everything personal. Like
he's going to call you out, and he's going to be, I can't believe you.
Yeah,
I thought you were different.
I actually think that there's a way to make a party member leave, if I'm not mistaken. I could have sworn. I think I saw an achievement for that. I was like,
how is that an achievement? Look at what you achieved. They hate you. What?
that actually should be the
for them not leaving. You know what I'm saying? How about some positive reinforcement over here?
That should be the name of the achievement. They hate you. That's freaking awesome. Oh my God. That should listen, Avowed team, if you're listening, and I know that you are, and once again, thank you so much for that incredible gift. If you missed it out, they sent me the press kit, folks. Double Barrel Gaming was blessed with the Avowed press kit. I am going to do an unboxing. I thought I was going to do it today. Today is super, super heavy for a lot of personal reasons. I don't want to get into them, but we're good. It's just that me and my stepdad had to do some things today with my mom. And it was a heavy day. So I'll get to doing it either on Friday, and if I can't because of the show and a bunch of other things going on, I'll do it Monday. I am doing an official unboxing. Like, I cannot wait to show you what this press kit looks like, because we saw Paris Lily show it off and a few others, and it looked really dope. And this is one of my favorite Obsidian joints. It has moved past, for me personally, of Fallout New Vegas, which was my favorite Obsidian game. Avowed is now taking that spot. And to get this press kit, it's kind of a really big deal for us as a small channel that we're recognized as press. But this thing, which I am going to dedicate an entire glass shelf positioning for. I'm going to set it up and take pictures. By the way, I bought the $90 edition because it came with the cloth map. I'm having that cloth map framed professionally because that cloth map is dope. And I want to have it framed professionally, and I'm going to put everything together. I freaking cannot wait. But Jonas the Dad, who's been a channel member for 15 months. Brother, that is very kind of you, Jonas. We super appreciate the generosity, and we appreciate you being here. He says, if Marathon bombs like Concord, is this the end of PlayStation? Hit the like button, share it out. No, PlayStation isn't going anywhere. They're too powerful of a platform. They are the world's most recognized platform. Whether you people want to believe it or you don't.
PlayStation first party, I think, is what most people talk about when they talk about this.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody realistically thinks that PlayStation, the box, is going anywhere. People are already used to it. We already know that most people who buy that box don't even know about their first party or care about their first party. So the people who are buying the box,
a casual box. They play
it's just the box that people know.
They play it for Fortnite. They play it for Apex Legends.
If we woke up tomorrow and Sony announced that all their first party studios were canceled, gone, shut down, that box will still sell 10 million boxes next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares about those first party games. The hardcore don't care.
We
about
do. The
those games.
hardcore does.
Well,
I
mean, theoretically, until you look at the sale numbers, right? Like when you look at them, it's like, well, I guess not, right? So the people are there whether it's a hardcore game or not. Like Astrobot's not a hardcore game. That's the most casual game that you can possibly have. It's 94 rated. Sells 2 million copies or 1.5, between 1.5 and 2 million copies out of 75 million boxes that exist with a bunch of casuals on that box. Come on, man. They don't care. Nobody cares, right? The PlayStation first party is irrelevant to everybody. Sure, some of us, yeah, we have a PlayStation because I like to play some of it, but again, the maximum you're going to have is at the height of it is going to be 20-ish million. That's if you all the stars align. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody just catches that zeitgeist win and like, yeah, let's go buy this game. Show me the games that have done that this generation, right? God of War Ragnarok, did it get up there? I don't even know.
I mean, it sold well for sure. I mean,
it definitely sold well. It sold worse than the first one. So that every other game they released for PlayStation 5, every PlayStation 5 game sold worse than the PlayStation 4 counterpart. And God of War Ragnarok was on PlayStation 4, right? So it's not even like you can't even look at it and say, oh, it's a PlayStation 5 thing. They didn't have as many consoles. No, fam, they actually had more. They had the 5 and the 4. Nobody cared, right? So it's what's going to happen, and what they're alluding to here is that as these games keep not performing, at what point does Sony stop the bleeding, right? At what point does Sony say, you know what? Every time I look at my spreadsheet of my numbers and I see how amazing we're doing with all these game purchases for third parties, with all of these microtransactions for Call of Duty and Roblox and Fortnite and all these other games, why are we consistently putting ourselves at risk, putting out hundreds of millions of dollars, hoping that we're going to get a return? It's not even at this point, they're not even lining up guaranteed huge returns anymore, right? So it's interesting. Always a risk for them.
I'm wondering if you're going to cover it, but we're definitely covering it tomorrow regarding The Last of Us 3.
Oh yeah, we're covering that tonight.
Happening.
Dude, we talked about that even before, man. Like
that's
a
pretty big
the end of the road, bro. Is the end of the road. He is gone. Neil is done. He's not making a part 3.
Neil Druckmann is going to leave. And it's not because he's being kicked. Listen, this isn't a Shuhei Yoshida situation.
He's done.
He wants to be with his family. He wants to get into Hollywood. He wants to get into film. He's not getting kicked out of the door. He's gonna leave at some point. I would imagine. And I'll be tuning in tonight to hear what you guys have to say about it. But I would believe that as soon as Intergalactic is done, he's done. So that means that now, granted, does that actually mean no Last of Us 3 ever? No, it actually doesn't, because they could hire someone else to pick up the mantle. The question is, would they want to, especially if it's not Neil Druckmann's Last of Us?
Well, we said the same thing about Uncharted. Where's that?
It's nowhere to be found. Right.
Nowhere, right? Because this is the thing. Once people have a feel for a certain franchise, you bring somebody else who's going to do what? Take it in a different direction, and then the franchise is dead, right? And the only difference is that you spent $100 million to find out that the franchise is dead. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they don't want to do. And to be clear, right, as far as the sales are concerned, right, understand two very different companies that we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Sony does not have a big entity to support it, right? No game that comes out can save PlayStation's, numbers, and is not going to change Sony's position, right? Sony's not going to wake up tomorrow and be a $300 billion company. It's not happening. There's nothing that they could do to change it. They live in one space, and that's the space that they lived in for so long. They're a company that's older than Microsoft, and yet they still are in this position where Microsoft has become a $3 trillion company, right? So we're talking very different entities that exist and different motivations behind the companies at this point. We know that Sony is still locked in this old way of being, because the new way of being they can't afford to do. Right? Microsoft can afford to put his games everywhere because it has a home base that they are investing in, that they want to continue to grow, that no matter how many times they tell us, well, we don't necessarily want everybody to move over there. They do, right? They want everybody to eventually go into Game Pass, right? The same way Netflix is the way, right? I mean, again, they're always going to be okay getting their money. How do they fix their problem? Because I think before that was true. I think before they wanted a healthy balance between how many people subscribe and how many people still paid out of pocket per game, right? But now the balance is unnecessary for Xbox. Every single person on Xbox could become a subscriber to Game Pass, and they will be so happy with that because they're still getting their purchases on PlayStation and on Nintendo Switch, right? That is the end game for them. That's why it makes so much sense for them. They put their game everywhere else. They recoup the cost of everyone who chooses to subscribe to Game Pass versus purchasing each game individually, right? Again, it's just what it is, right? It's always going to be more beneficial for them to take a person who buys a $70 first party game every month versus somebody who pays $20 every month for the assortment, right? So for them, they still want that, and they have that now with these other markets that they're getting into. So now they're constantly pushing Game Pass, right? That's the idea. That's the hope and the dream, to get it up to Netflix numbers, right?
Yeah.
Between PC and Xbox, which they can absolutely do over time. For them, that's the motivation, right? So for them, they want to keep investing. There's only one way to grow Game Pass. Only one way. Constant new games entering the service. There is no one game that will do it, no matter what. Call of Duty does a bump. Great. They have that guaranteed every year. Every year the next Call of Duty comes out, there will be a bump in Game Pass. What they need is bumps every month. How do they do that? Constantly giving us new first parties that are exciting, constantly giving us new third parties that are exciting. They have a motivation. They have a reason to do what they do, right? And they have the backing of their stockholders because of that, right? They could keep investing because they could ease the statement is simple. Hey, in order for us to grow what you want recurring revenue. In order for us to continue to grow that, we have to keep investing in Game Pass. As we do that, the numbers keep going up.
Yep.
That's the motivation. PlayStation has no such motivation. They have nothing. The only thing they want is for you to buy a console and buy their games. But you're not buying their games. So what motivation do they have when they literally have not released a game that is of importance or that mattered in a significant way, that was a high profile, oh my God, everybody, let's get around this game. We're so excited for this dope ass game that's coming. They haven't released one of those in years. Yet still, they grow substantially their console base because no matter how you look at it, their name is the only thing that people are aware of. They don't care about Xbox, especially in these other parts of the world. And that's why Forza doing what it's doing is so tremendous and such a huge proof of concept for Microsoft. It shows that you take a game that could not be sold in these other places because they don't, have Xbox, or their presence is so minuscule that the game is there, but nobody cares because they don't have that many Xboxes in these other parts of the world. And in all of these other parts of the world, for PlayStation, it became number one, right? Number one in multiple countries. This is crazy. And not just in the pre-order box, because that's the place where it's like, you're number one in pre-orders, but that could mean anything. The other games are not being pre-ordered that much, so it doesn't really help that much. But our boy Michael Yu on our show, we went over it. It's not just number one in pre-orders. They are number like 3, 4, 5 in revenue compared to games that are out right now. So it's in the top purchased game list. It's comparing to the games that are out, the Call of Duties of the world, these other games that are out right this second. It's up there. So that means it's not just small pre-order numbers compared to other small pre-order numbers. These are huge numbers that are taking over globally. It's phenomenal. And obviously, I know I went on to this whole big
no, this is great. This is what I love, because this is, again, obviously a conversational podcast, and this is why we work so well together, because it doesn't have to be scripted. It doesn't have to we don't have to have a topic. We could just go shoot from the hip, and that's what we're doing here. And listen, they announced a couple of weeks ago that they had 44 million players for Forza Horizon 5. I would imagine, and I think this is a small stab at it. I can't wait to see whether I'm right or wrong, that once this releases on PlayStation, you're going to see them hit 50 million. There's just the 50 million players across multiple platforms without a Switch 2 release, which it is expected to release on at some point or another, because the Switch 2 is going to be, it's not going to be a potato. It's going to be a much more powerful console.
I mean, it's going to be at least as powerful as what can already run it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, again, it's good stuff. But listen, real quick, King Web and Gamer by Choice, gentlemen, I cannot thank you enough for the generosity because they have gifted one double barrel gaming membership each. King Web, Gamer by Choice, appreciate you, gentlemen, being here, and of course, Mrs. Boom and I truly appreciate the generosity and support. We also have Do You K Now, the Broke Boy Insider. I got it right. There you go. He says, still waiting for my invite to Boom. Brother, today, let me know what works for you next week. We'll get you on the show forthwith. He drops an additional, very generous $2 super chat. We'll get you on here to talk games. Again, you let me know when next week it works for you, and you're on. We also have King Web. Actually says, I think this is a follow-up to what I said earlier. He drops a $2 super chat. I think this is aimed at you, C Money, Mr. Mustard himself, and the accusations. Or he actually, I'm saying accusations. He's saying acquisitions. So I kind of just changed that a little bit. King Web, I know what you're talking about. The acquisitions are happening. The accusations that I'm talking about is you suggesting that we look at Will Broke Boy, the Lewis's
we
comments.
know that those are not accusations, those are facts.
Oh man.
God.
And King Web, you're onto something, because if you think that they're done acquiring more studios and potentially another publisher, you're sadly mistaken. They have every year they have like $80 billion that they have to invest, otherwise they start to lose money. Once this FTC shenanigans is done, and I would imagine it's going to be an announcement any time now that the FTC has just moved on from Microsoft because they're not doing anything illegal. They're putting games everywhere, and what they're doing with PlayStation is a perfect example of why Lena Khan was ridiculous with her shenanigans. You're going to see them go after someone big. Now, is that Ubisoft? Is it Take-Two possibly? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. If I were the one making this choice, it would be go after Take-Two. You get Grand Theft Auto, you get WWE, you get the 2K Sports Series, among other things, and these are all gas games. These are all games that are going to make you money time in, time out, past the initial purchase. And if you get these types of games inside Game Pass, could you imagine, see money, if there's a world where we live in where Grand Theft Auto whatever and Call of Duty whatever is inside a streaming freaking service, that's when you see Game Pass have 200 million subscribers. Because who's going to walk away from that?
That's a huge thing. We were actually just having this conversation on my show on Tuesday, because we were kind of looking at who would be the main target, right? I've been saying forever, if you want to know who they're going to buy, look at that top 10 list, right? That weekly top 10 list.
Yep.
They want that, right? So we were having this discussion because it's either between 2K, which I think would be huge to have, right? But they don't have many, we were trying to come up with them. They don't have many yearly games, right? So NBA and WWE are what they have, which is great. If that were the case, that's great. But EA has more, right? EA has more of them. And for us, when we were talking about it, and the way I think about it is pretty simple. Game Pass is driven by those big moments, right? Again, we saw Call of Duty was the biggest, one of the biggest bumps that they've had on Game Pass when it dropped. Starfield was one of the biggest it was the single biggest day of Game Pass growth that they've had. So it's these big moments that go ahead and make it so that Game Pass bumps, right? That's what happens, right? So the idea from Microsoft is simple, right? They know every fall they're going to get a bump in Game Pass. It's just what it is. Call of Duty will do that every time. People are going to do that. The same way everybody buys, the game is the same way you're going to have people who every fall are going to sub to Game Pass to do it, right? It's just what's going to happen, right? So the question is, how do you get, how do you have multiple of those? it's going to be through an acquisition outside of your own, delivering bangers, right? Which they are doing, but those are still niche bangers, right? Like no matter how much you look at it, like a Fable is going to be great, but it's not Call of Duty. It's not, Madden. It's not FIFA, right? Like this is what I'm talking about. So if they were to go ahead and purchase, like for instance, EA, which I don't really want them to do because it's not, it wouldn't be a benefit to me for the most part, but like financially for Microsoft, what would make sense is for them to be able to go ahead and know that every time they release a Madden, Game Pass is going up. Every time they release a FIFA, Game Pass is going up, right? And those are the biggest, those are huge, right? So, and I mean, there's other ones, there's other things that they have. You get Apex Legends, which is a live service game for Battle Royale. So you kind of get, one of those. So there's a lot of benefits to it, but that's ultimately what they're looking for, bro. They're going to want to have it where it's not just Call of Duty that's the guaranteed yearly banger. They want to be able to go to stockholders and be like, hey, listen, every year, every August, or I don't know when Madden drops, right? But every time Madden drops, we're gonna see this bump, right? It's just what's gonna happen. People are gonna do it every time the other ones come out. It's what's gonna happen. Like right now, we get them after, but the people who want to play those games already bought them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So they're never going to be a bump. You're not going to get a bump when EA, or at least not a big enough bump when Madden comes to Game Pass after the fact, because everybody already bought it.
You would if you did Grand Theft Auto, though.
but that's once every 10 years, though, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem, right? And the same thing with Red Dead. Yes, you would get it, but they're spread out. Same thing with Mafia. Yes, a new Mafia is coming. If you have it before Mafia comes out, that's going to be a bump. The new Borderlands, if you have it before that comes out, that'll be a bump. But then when are you going to get your next one, right? You fall back to just NBA and WWE, and that's not small, right? WWE is huge. NBA, that was a great. I just watched you throw that grenade on the door slab.
I literally killed myself there. Yeah, I tried to run out of the way.
Hilarious. That was hilarious. But that's what it is, right? So you go ahead and if you have only those, which is fine. Those are big gets. If they get Take-Two, they're not losing. They're gonna get those 2 extra bumps guaranteed every year. But it's just how big are those bumps compared to an EA bump if you were to have Madden day one, if you were to have the FIFA, which is the FIFA for sure. That's the EA. You buy EA for FIFA, right? Like that's 100% what it is, right? And then you would also own the military shooter market, right? Because you also get Battlefield.
Holy crap! I forgot about that. Wow.
So now there's no more of this competition between Call of Duty and Battlefield. Now because you own both, you're making a complementary, right, game to both, right? So it changes the dynamics of it, but it does go ahead and it fills it in. It fills it in right. This is what Microsoft wants. This is why they bought Activision. This is why they bought every other company. Bethesda.
Who got best play on the screen there? That would be me. There you go.
How come they didn't put the grenade toss? I don't know. It was weird. Hold on.
Yeah, we don't want to watch that again, but we do want to watch this shoddy with Dragon's Breath just completely destroy everybody in my path, which is awesome. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. We spent another 25 minutes. It's just kind of talking about craziness. I may throw it up as a separate video. Again, we're not going to have an outro. We're going to kind of end abruptly simply because I cannot keep getting these claims. Otherwise, it's bad marks against the channel. And I shouldn't get them because we purchased the license, but hopefully YouTube does take care of it rather quickly. Needless to say, I am already working with Sean Labrie on a new music track for all of my content openings, intros and outros. He should have that available in the next couple of days. So don't forget, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be talking about the potential of no Last of Us 3. We have a few other topics we're going to get into because there has been some things that have been talked about on other shows that we haven't got a chance to get around to. So we'll be talking about that. I'll do the artwork and set the advertisement for later this afternoon. But obviously, C-Money had to step away, take a business call. I do want to thank everyone that has generously gifted either a sub to Double Barrel Gaming, or dropped a super chat, which of course Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for. And again, I'll just wait a few seconds for C Money to get back. I don't know how long he's going to be gone, but On Point for Gamers obviously is a show that you should be checking out. If you're not already subscribed, please get over to On Point for Gamers on YouTube, which of course stars C Money and Doodle. They do multiple podcasts a week, and again, some of the they're fun. They're fun. If you like console war rhetoric, and I don't really swim in those waters, people do, and you enjoy that content, this is definitely where you should go, because they do drop facts, even though they can get a little bit finger pointy, and I love it. But of course, Kargi Chani back in the fold. Obviously, he's been dealing with some heavy family stuff. He was back last night on Primetime Gaming, and well, I would imagine that on Friday evening he's going to be back with Doodle and C Money. And of course, again, we're just going to get on out of here. There isn't going to be an outro because obviously we don't want to get any more, content claims. But I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to be here. We had over 500 people watching live. Oh, there he is. C, let's sell your brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel, and what else you got going on, brother?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, obviously, thank you, Boom. Appreciate it, man. Great to be back here. Thursdays, 12 o'clock, Xvlog Live. Find me here. Always fun, man. So thank you, my brother. Yeah, we have a YouTube channel, On Point for Gamers. We do 4 shows a week. Sundays, 10 a.m. is On Point. The Morning Quest. God damn it, so many shows. Morning Quest with Doodle C Money. Tuesday nights is Night Quest with our boy Pharaoh, and every other week we got our homie Fuzzy, which I believe this Tuesday we got our boy Fuzzy in the building. And then Thursday night, so tonight will be live, myself and Doodle, and we are going to be having a guest because tomorrow is our other show. So 8 o'clock tonight is the On Point Gaming Podcast. Tomorrow night is Night Shift at 8 p.m. Where we normally have Hargeet and our boy Demo with us, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, I just have business that I have to handle this weekend, so I can't do a show. But that's typically our show lineup, so come hang out with us, man. We have a good time, man. It's definitely an Xbox podcast. We look at everything from the lens of an Xbox fan. We talk shit when necessary, and it's not our fault that the necessity happens often. Like it's not our fault, but we do. So yeah, come rock with us, man. It's cool. I did put the link in the chat. I actually, Boom, I'm gonna end up bouncing out because I have another call coming in, and I don't want to.
Yeah, no, that's what we're getting on out here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, 4C Money. Oh, Dave Reezy just drops a very generous $2 super chat, and we'll see you next week. See later, brother.
Peace.
He says that's C Mustard's dealer calling him. I wish I would have read that before he went. Shout out to you, Dave Reezy. C Mustard's. I said it wrong. C Mustard. I love it. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us here. Again, we had a lot of laughs today. This was a lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Of course, I'm going to be breaking down some of the podcasts that we did today into smaller, more digestible videos later on this evening. They'll probably go up in the AM because, like I said, I'm just hoping for the new intro music. And of course, a big thank you once again for everyone that tuned in and everyone that was generous enough to either become a channel member, get a membership from some of the ones that were donated, or drop a super chat. Enjoy your Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you in the next video.